Why don't they believe us? How much more evidence do we have to show? So we have to understand the mind frame of the West. And the Israelis do not understand this. American Jews understand this, but sit in denial. So let's start. The question is, how could they tear down the posters? Now, we've seen videos of posters of kidnapped babies. Right next to it could be a picture of a lost dog. The picture of the lost dog will stay up, and the picture of the kidnapped baby will be torn down. Okay? The bicycle, lost bicycle, will stay up, and a kidnapped baby will go down. Now, the Israeli mind is thinking, how could this be? The person doing this is a sane, educated, supposedly fair and justice-seeking American. How could this be? All right, so let's explain what we're talking about here. The new mainstream idea, it's not a new idea, but the idea that it's gone mainstream, is the idea of humanism. Everyone should be allotted the same opportunity, access to attain resources. Now, this opportunity to obtain resources crosses international borders, crosses racial borders, and it's not just a system of equality. It means equity. And I'm not a sociologist, and we're not going to delve so deep into it, but it is important for the Israelis to understand how the Americans think. That'll answer their questions. Now, at the core of this idea, today in the world, and especially in the United States, is race. The United States, of course, has a history of slavery, of bigotry that goes back hundreds of years. Now, the world sees Israel, true or not, as the white Jewish oppressor of brown indigenous Arabs. That's it. That's the sentence. That's the sentence of the discussion. Why they see it like that? A whole slew of reasons. Ashkenazi, meaning European Jews, were very prominent in Western societies. Many wealthy European Jewish families, Hollywood, Nobel Prize winners, anti-Semitic rhetoric regarding Jews running the world. Similarly, Israel is deemed very successful, militarily, technologically, in wars, in academia, very much just like the Jew, the Ashkenazi Jew in the mind of the Westerner. Israel very much outpunches its class. On the other side, there are the brown Palestinian Arabs. Okay? And they believe, the Westerners believe, that they are native to the land. It's a topic for another discussion. So for the Westerner, now you have race, and you also have religion. Post 9/11, in the United States, there was a tremendous backlash to anti-Muslim sentiment. So Muslims became a protected class in the United States. Not to get too far into the weeds, but I want to establish the two sides here and the two perceptions here of the successful, rich, powerful Israeli Jew and what's perceived as, and also, sorry, we shouldn't miss white, and what's perceived as the brown Palestinian native to the land. So we have here a perfect setup. The privileged and the underprivileged. And when they clash, the privileged is, of course, the oppressor, and the underprivileged is the victim. Now here's the kicker. When Israelis go around the world and they show tears and they cry not out of anguish, not crying only out of anguish, out of victimhood. Look what they did to us. Have pity on us. Have sympathy. This is particularly offensive to the Western ear. Why? How dare you? How dare the oppressor usurp the role of victim? Again, the oppressor, the Israeli here, is trying to usurp the role of victim, and particularly from the actual victim, the Palestinian. This is completely offensive to the Western ear. So when the Jewish oppressor wants to claim victimhood precisely from the population that they believe is being oppressed, impossible. It can't happen. The entire world is flipped. So Mr. Israeli, you could bring your videos and photos and testimony, the admission itself. But it doesn't matter. You are now seen as the oppressor trying to usurp the role of victim. Not the victim from a hurricane, not the victim from an earthquake. You want to out-victim the Palestinian and flip the Palestinian into the powerful one. No way. The West will not accept that. With this understanding, we could see how no matter what, Mr. Israeli, you want to claim and prove and show, what will happen? It will be dismissed. It'll be rationalized. It'll be justified. And that's when the posters get pulled down. That's when the women get ignored. Post Me Too, the women get ignored. That's when you get the notion that any type of resistance is justified, that the claims were made up, that they never happened, that they were exaggerated. And to fight those claims with facts and proof is tone deaf, because you don't understand what you're fighting. And this powerful Mr. Israeli, as the West sees it, includes every Israeli, okay? Ashkenazi, Sephardi, religious, secular. Now, that also includes politics, left and right, meaning from Shas to Meretz. You're all powerful, oppressive Israelis. So you can be Michaeli, you could be Lapid, and you could go to the United States and you think you're meeting your friends. You're meeting the American leftists who are exactly like you. But just like in Chicago, they will tell you no. You are more Israeli than you are a leftist. You served in the IDF. The wealth you have was gained from taking advantage of the Palestinian people. It might be harsh, but understanding the reality in the United States means that the Jews and Israelis are seen oftentimes as racist, as apartheid. It's despicable. It's like the KKK. So to sum it up, that's why the photos are taken down. That's why your tears are ignored. And they will continue to ignore it. And they will continue to take down the photos. Because it appears to them as an effort by the oppressor to claim victimhood, to flip the narrative as they see it. Even testimony will be ignored because you're flipping the narrative. The powerful is trying to usurp the role of victim. It has nothing to do with evidence. In fact, the more evidence you bring, the more sympathy that you try to attract, the more tears that you have, the more disgusted they become.